Poker Yomi is Kesubos Daf Samach. Hey, we're going to start on the bottom of Samach Dawad Beis on 64b at the bottom. As the Mishnah states, no sin lo chatzi kav kitniks. The bottom line on 64b states that the husband has to give to the wife a half a kav of beans. So that's one of the responsibilities he has to give, or lists a whole long list of things he has to give. But it says the Mishnah, it says the Gemara, it doesn't say anything about him giving wine. This is proof for Rebbe Lazar's position. The Amar Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Lazar is taught you're not supposed to give wine to a woman. Vim Tomar, and if you want to say, what about the pasuk? It says in Hosea, where the woman refers to her beloved, Elcha achrei ahavai, nosnei lachmi umemai, tzamri ufishti, shamni v'shikliai. She says, I'm going to go after my beloved who gives me bread and water, wool and linen, oil, and shikliai presumably is drink, and drink presumably means wine. And so we see that the woman is getting wine, so she has an expectation of getting wine. Gemara says, no, that's not what it means. Shikliya means tvarim sha'isha mishto kekesale, and these are things that a woman has a craving for, she has a yearning for. Umayne, what are these things? Tachshitin, these are jewelry or adornments. And Darash Rabbi Yehuda ish kfar Naviria, and Rabbi Yehuda from the man of Naviria, and just want to say, I saw that the Shita Mikubetza says, I had the merit to stand in this holy place in the land of Israel. He said it was from the land of Israel. So Rabbi Yehuda from Kfar Naviria, and some say Kfar Nafor Chayal, Minayan Shem Poskin Yenos Leisha. How do we know we don't give wine to a woman? As it says, Vatakam Chana Achrei Achla, Vatakam Chana Achrei Achla B'Shilo, V'Achrei Shaso. So Chana got up after she ate in Shiloh, and presumably after he drank. We'll see that's what the Gemara means. That's how the Gemara understands it. So the Gemara says, Shaso v'lo shasas. He drank and she didn't drink. So what do you mean? So doesn't this proves that she didn't have any wine to drink because she ate and he drank. Where says, well, if that's the case, what does that mean to say that that he didn't eat, she ate, and he didn't eat? Where says, no, Anan made the shani krabitibure kamrinan. No, we're highlighting the fact that the verse changed the way it was speaking. At first, it started off by speaking about her. And my time as Shani. So why did the verse change to start talking about him? He drank, Chana's husband drank, Elkanah drank, but she didn't drink. So says the Gemara, Meisvei, Regila, we have a contradiction because we just said that you don't give wine to the woman, but the husband doesn't give wine to his wife. But we learn in Price that Regila knows the law. And if she's accustomed to drinking wine, we give her wine to drink. So Gemara says, well, Regila Shani. Well, that case is different because she's accustomed to it. She can hold her liquor. Because since it's not something new, she's used to it. Rashi says, Kardashabo. She's used to it. It's not going to excite her. So Gemara then says, but still, Gemara says, the Amar Avchina Barkan, Amar Shmuel, Regila knows the law coast Echad. So, because Rav China Barkana says in the name of Shmuel that if she's accustomed to wine, you give her 1 cup. She'ena Regila, she's not accustomed, no shnei kosos. We give her 2 cups. That's the statement in the name of Shmuel. The Gemara says this does not make any sense. Ma'ika Amar. Amar Bayachik, Amar Regila, Bifnei Bala, shnei kosos. So what it means is if she's accustomed to drinking wine and she's in front of her husband, we'll give her 2 cups. Shalom b'fnei Baal, but she's not with her husband, where we have stern concerns about her behavior, then no stinla kosecha, we only give her 1 cup. Eina regila b'fnei Baal. Eina regila, let's say she's not accustomed to drinking wine, but then b'fnei Baal, Then if she's in front of her husband, hold on, let me read this again. So Amar Bai Halchakamer, this is how you read it. Bif Regila Bifnei Bawa. If she's accustomed to drinking and she's in front of her husband, you give her 2 cups, shnei kosses. Shalom Bifnei Bawa, if she's not accustomed, if she's not in front of her husband, if she's accustomed to drink, no Salah Kosecha, you give her 1 cup. Eina Regila, if she's not accustomed to drink, Bifnei Bawa, and she's in front of her husband, El Kosecha, then you give her 1 cup. Shalom Bifnei Bawa, but if she's not in front of her husband, you don't give her anything at all. The same, or alternatively, if she's accustomed to drink, you give her give her wine for tasting. She doesn't drink it, you just give her wine for tasting. We're going to be hearing a lot about this great this great figure in Talmudic times called Nakdimon Ben Gurion. So he was a very, very wealthy man in Jerusalem. And after he died, his daughter-in-law came, and the daughter, or it's not necessarily the case that Nakdimon died, but his son must have died. So the daughter-in-law of Nakdimon Ben Gurion came, and they gave to her, the rabbis of the court gave to her 2 seah of wine from the pot every single Friday afternoon, meaning say for each week. Amrohen, so she gave them a bracha. When they said this, she gave them a bracha. She said, "Kach tifsiku with no sechem." When she said this to them, when they gave this to her, she gave them a bracha, and she said, "This is what you should give to your daughters." That means to say, and Tana, we learned, Shomeres Yavam Haisa. We learned that she was, at this point, the Shomeres Yavam. By the way, we have one of our Zoom participants came in live now, David. So that's a big mechazik, everybody who sometimes follows us on Zoom or on recordings, always come in live and participate with us. It's always mechazik us. So we're in the middle of 65a. So we learned that this woman, the reason why they didn't say that when she said, when she gave them a blessing, thus you shall give to your daughter, we say, Shomeres Yavam Haisa. She was herself waiting for her husband's brother to marry her, because her husband, the son of Nakdim Ben Gurion, had died. And so therefore they didn't say amen to her blessing when she said, so shall you give to your daughters, because they didn't want their daughter to end up in this tragic situation of being a Shomeres Yavam. Now the rabbis taught Tana Kos Echad, in the middle of 65a. What a bracha that we're studying with David. He says, Tana Kos Echad Yafel Isha. There are 1 cup of wine is good for a woman. Shnayim Nivahu, but 2 cups of wine is considered to be disgusting. Shlosha, if she has 3 cups of wine, Tovas B'Peh, she's going to start soliciting people. Arba, let's say she has 4 cups of wine. Afil Chamor Tovas B'Shuk Beina Makpedes. She'll even start soliciting a donkey in the marketplace, and she won't care. So it's very. When somebody's drunk, they don't know what they're doing. That's the point. Amarava Moshanu El Shein Balaima. When do we say this? When do we say this concept? Only when her husband is not with her. That's when we say this idea, that the dangers of the cups of wine. But if her husband's with her, there's no problem to drink the wine if her husband's with her. So says the Gemara. What about Chana? We just start off this whole discussion by saying she didn't drink wine, and the Bala Ima, her husband, was with her. The Bala Ima, so the Bala Ima, so Gemara explains, Achsanai Shani. Chana was a guest. She and her husband were lodgers in Shiloh, and that's a different story. So an Achsanai is not allowed to engage in marital relations, and presumably they're saying that because she was an Achsanai, therefore she's also still not allowed to drink the wine, because because the reason for drinking the wine, the reason why we have to be concerned about wine is it might lead her to have uh, thoughts of engaging in intercourse, and this concept is not permitted by if she's a guest. And Al Sinai is prohibited to engage in intercourse. And it says, "Vayishkimu b'boker, vayishtachavu lefnei Hashem, vayashuvu le'avo abitam haramata." It says about Chana and Elkanah. They got up early in the morning. They bowed down before God, and they returned and they came to their homes in Ramah. Elkanah knew his wife Chana. Hashem, and Hashem remembered her, and she was able to have a child. So we see from here, Hashtain, and now is where Chana and Elkanah were able to have the attempt to conceive. Meikarovo, but prior to this, they weren't able to do that. So the Gemara says, Choma Tvesoda Abaye Asla Kami de Rava. Choma, who's the wife of Abaye, she came before Rava. So now we're going to have a story about this. Choma, the wife of Abaye, she came before Rava. Amraway, she said to him. So Abaye's widow, Choma, we know from this story. We also know from from other stories in Shas, but we know that she had already been married twice. So what happened was, in this very interesting story, that Choma, she came for Rava Amraway. She said to him, "Psokli mizone, give me sustenance from the estate." Pasakai gave her enough money to support herself. Psokli chamres, she said, "Give me wine, give me money for wine." Amraway, Rava said, "Yadana be benachmani to lo aveshasi chamra." He said, "I know from Nachmani that he would never drink wine." Nachmani was another name for Abaye. Some say it was called Nachmani because really that was his real name. But what happened was he was raised by Rabbi Bar Nachman, and Rabbi Bar Nachman didn't want to call Abaye by his real name, so he called him Abaye. Others say that Abaye was an orphan, and so Nachmani is similar to Nechama by comfort. And others say Nachmani is a derogatory term that is referring to the fact that he was still a student of Nachman, Rav Nachman. So these are just some of the many explanations. Some say it was a term of affection. He was calling him after his father's name, Rabbi Bar Nachman, but he didn't want to call him Nachman, so he called him Nachmani as a term of affection. So anyway, he says, "I know Abaye never drank the wine." Why didn't Abaye drink the wine? Well, Abaye, either he was poor, or maybe he was a Kohen. It's another Shita, and the Kohen is not allowed to drink wine because maybe the temple is going to be rebuilt every single second. We always have to imagine that the temple is going to be rebuilt every second. So therefore, that's the reason why Abaye didn't drink the wine. He was thinking that the temple could be rebuilt at any second, and so therefore he didn't drink wine. That's Rabbeinu Chananel. I mean, so what if the temple was rebuilt? So he drank wine, so you have to wait 24 hours. Yeah, but he wanted to be ready for that first second that the temple was built. He didn't want to wait. He didn't want to wait longer. So then the Gemara says, she says, "I swear that Abaye used to give me in these jugs and kihai," and she was showing him. She showed him the jugs. She went like this to show him the jugs. Well, guess what? When she showed him, Igla Dara, her arm became visible. Nafal Nehura B'Beidina, a light came out in the court, meaning her arms were so brilliant they showed the light. So come Rava got up and he was excited. Abaye went home and Tavo Abbas Rav Chisda, and he he had relations with his wife, who was known as the daughter of Rav Chisda. Why did he have relations with his wife? He wanted to show he wasn't excited by this other woman. He wanted to be with his wife and not with this other woman. So Amroi Abbas Rav Chisda, man, I never paid dinner. So Rav Chisda's daughter said, "Who was in the court today?" Amroi Choma Dveisod Abaye, said Choma, Abaye's widow. Nafka Abbasra She went after him. Machtala. She went after Choma. Machtala bekulpe. Teshida. She hit her with a lock from a box. She kicked her out of Mechuza. She said, "You've already killed 3 men. You want to kill another man," meaning to say, because the Gemara in Yevamos tells us that an isha katlana, so a woman whose husbands have died, she can't get married anymore if she had. So there's a dispute there if it's 3 women or 2 women. So Abaye passed like the position, 3 men or 2 men. So Abaye passed like the position that it's 3 men. If she has 3 husbands who die, she can't remarry. So Abaye married her, and now Abaye died. So she says, "You have 3 husbands who die. So you want to kill another one." So that's the story. The Beisal de Rav Yosef, Brei de Rav, also coming to Rav Nechemia, Brei de Rav Yosef, Amrulai Psoku Mizoni. So the wife of Rav Yosef, son of Rava, said, "Give me sustenance, pasakla." I gave her. Psoku Chamer, give me wine, pasakla. I gave her wine. Amrulai Yadana Behu B'nei Mechuza. He said, "I know that the people of Mechuza, the Shasu Chamra, that they drink wine. So therefore, I'm giving you wine." The Beisal de Rav Yosef, Brei de Rav Menashe. Mitvio also coming to Rav Yosef. He came to Rav Yosef. I'm like Psokli Mizoni. He said, give me sustenance. Pasakla, I gave her. Psokli Chamra, give me wine. Pasakla, I gave her wine. Psokli Shirai, she said, give me silk clothing. Amrullah Shirai Lamai. Why do you need silk clothing? You're a widow. Amrullah L'chol Chaverch U'Chaverech. I need it for you and for everybody. Meaning to say, I don't want to look disgusting. I need to keep up to the same level of living in front of you and your friends. And also says that the Mishnah said he gives her a mattress, a hard one and a soft one. Why does he need to give her both mattresses? Why does he need to give it to her? Amar Papa. So Rashi says, why does he need this mapat and machatzelas? You have to know really the reality of for this. But Rashi says the leather that was spread out on the bed was better than the mapats. So why does she need the mapats? And so the Gemara answers, well, no, this was a specific place. Amar Papa, then Ba'asr the Nahiga, the Malupuria B'chavli the Mivgar. So the Chali Mivgar. So basically, the way Rashi explains it, that this was a place where they used to fill up the beds with rope. And so therefore, they didn't put the leather out. It was just like a weave of rope. And so therefore, it would give her pain. And so therefore, it would make her old. Rashi says, Bulgaris. She would be sleeping and she'd get a bad back. So that's what he says. It's a big problem. We don't give her a pillow and a mattress. You give her this pillow and this bedding. So what's the scenario? If everybody there got a car and a cassette, my time in Tanakama, why does Tanakama say you don't give it to her? But if most people didn't, my time with Rabbi Nassan, why does Rabbi Nassan say you do give it to her? Versus no, Tzricha could go into Orcha Didei, we'll have Orcha Didei. He's used to a pillow and a bedding, but she's not to it. She's not used to it. Tanakama Savar, the Tanakama says, I'm going to take it with me. My sina will bade. And when I come back, I'll bring it with them with me. Rabbi Nazan Savar, Amrway, she says to him, Zimnin de Misrami bein hashmashas. She says, sometimes what's going to happen, he's going to come back on Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon, and sometimes he's going to come back Friday afternoon and I won't be able to find it. And then he's going to take the ones that are mine, and then I'm going to end up sleeping on the ground. Rashi says he's going to take my mapats, or if I'm going to, subsequent to this, to him leaving, buy my own car and cassette, he's going to take mine. So therefore, he has to leave for me his own car and cassette. Otherwise, I'm going to be the one who gets hurt. I'm going to Papa Abaye. So Papa says to Abaye, we're on top of 65b. Hi Tana Shliach Artli Virami misanai. So the Tana of our Mishnah, it said that they learned to the Mishnah that he has to give her clothes once a year and shoes every holiday. That's every few months. From Pesach to Shavuos is 7 weeks. From Shavuos to Sukkot, he has to give her a new pair every time. So the Mishnah, so the Gemara says, "Hi Tana, this author of our Mishnah, Shliach Artulai, he takes off his clothing. The Rami Misana, he's walking around. He's walking around just with shoes, meaning to say because he doesn't have any clothing, but he has shoes." I don't really know. Tana b'makom harim kais. No, he says no. The Tana lived in a place of mountains. Below Sagia, below Tlasa Zugi Misani. If you live in the mountains, you need a lot of shoes. You need at least 3 pairs. And he's teaching us in a roundabout way that we should give her the shoes on the festival. So he has rejoicing with her. Okay, we have a dvar. And he gives her clothing that's worth 50 zuz. He has to give her clothing 50 zuz. So Amar Abaye Chamishim zuz pshite. This is the 50 zuz. They are just like the simple coins, which are really just worth 1/8 of the Tyrrhenian coins. That's what Rashi says. Zuz Medina shein shminis shebezuz tsuri. So they're not the top currency. Bitcoin, he paid her in Bitcoin. How do we know this? Because it says who gets the 50 zuzim if she was poor, if he was poor. But if he's wealthy, everything goes according to his value, his honor system. And if you want to say it was 50 Tyrrhenian coins, only Chamishim Zuz Minoy, it's a lot of money. How does the poor person have the 50 Zuz? It's the regular 50 coins. We don't give her the new clothes in the summer, because the new clothes, you imagine it's like a sheep, wool, it's all full. So you give her the new clothes in the winter to keep her warm, and then you give her the old clothes, and then when they get old, they get to the summer. The extra money that he gives her for support, that goes back to the husband. But most are below Slaisha, but the extra clothing that's worn out, she gets to keep. So the Gemara says, "Motor Isha, what's she going to do with this extra clothing? It's rags." So if she's in her cycle, in her time of the month, she could use these worn out clothes to clean herself or to cover herself. I guess you could use it like kind of sanitary napkins. We have a principle, we have a principle that the extra clothing of a widow goes to his heirs. So why do we say? I thought she gets the extra clothing. Why is the extra clothing going to his heirs? So Bai explains, when she's married to him, she gets to keep it. But after he dies, the whole purpose that she got to keep it when she was married to him was so she wouldn't look disgusting. Here she's not married. We don't care. She's a widow anymore. So she can't make that claim, and he gets to keep it. No single Mea Kesef we give to her. The husband gives to her Mea Kesef extra money in basically for her needs, and then she's supposed to eat with him every Friday night. My ochelos, when it says she eats with him, what does the word ochelos mean? Rav Nachman says ochelos mamish. It means she eats with him on Friday night. Rav Ashi says tashmish. Rashi says no, she engages in intercourse with him on Friday night. Tanan ochelos imo leilei Shabbos. So, but we learn in the Mishnah where we're going in the Mishnah, it says she eats with him on Friday night. According to when it says she eats, that's why it says she eats. According to what it says, it refers to Tashmish, Mayachelos. Then why does it say eats? Yeah, we want to speak in a nice way. she gets up, she eats, she wipes off her mouth, and she says, I didn't do a sin. So here we see that eating is a reference to intercourse. So that's the concept there.
Joseph.
I'm sorry, what?
Also, Joseph. He told his mistress that the only thing that he is limited
was the lechem. Right. So okay, very nice, very nice. So let me just finish the daf, then I'll just take questions. Just one moment. Also, we know that we saw already in the daf that sicha, also conversation, is a euphemism for intercourse. The Talmud has a lot of euphemisms for intercourse. So the Gemara says, Meisei, Rav Shimon Gamliel says, Ochelos Polei Shabbos, this Shabbos. So we want to see, does the Ochelos, does the eating refer to food or to intercourse? Well, we have the Brayso where Shbag says she eats on Friday night and on Shabbos day. According to what it says, it refers to eating. Well, Hainu Dikatani is Shabbos. Well, that's why it says also on Shabbos day. She eats Shabbos lunch with him. According to what it says, it refers to intercourse. Tashmis b'Shabbos miika. Is there really intercourse on Shabbos day? The Jewish people are so holy. They don't have the intercourse during the day. So Amar Rava, no, but Rava taught us. We had this several times already in our tractate. We had it on 56a. We had it in Yevamos. In a dark room, it will be permitted. And if she was nursing, it gives her extra money. Darash Rabbi Ua, Rabba Pitcha de Benesia, Avapisha Amro, even though they taught, even though we taught that a person does not required to support his sons and daughters when they're small, but if they're very small, if they're very small, you have to support them. And that come until what time? I've been sheish, until they reach the age of 6, you have to support them. If the child is 6 years old, Yotze be'iruv imo, he goes out with the eruv of his mother. Rashi says, what's the scenario here again from Eruvin? Let's say the mother made an eruv to the north and the father made an eruv to the south. Then we say you can't make an eruv in 2 different directions. So we assume that his eruv is with the mother and not the father. So he still needs his mother. So we see from here up until the age of 6, he needs his help from his mother. And just like the husband has to support her, so too he has to support the child with the mother. So, Mimai. So the Gemara asks, Mimai. So the Gemara asks the question, how do we know that the father has to do it? Maybe the mother has to do it. The Gemara says, and the fact it says if she's nursing, we give her less from her. We say she can earn less, and yet she gets more support. My time, because she has to. The reason is because the reason is that he needs to give more money for the child to eat with her. So the Gemara says the devil mishum dechoy. Maybe it's because she's sick when she's nursing. The Gemara says in Cain, lisnei. Then I would say if she was sick, it says if she's nursing. So it means that since she was nursing, that she gets more money to support the child. Maybe it's teaching us that most women who are sick are nursing or sick. So Gemara says, no. They go like this. In Maram Rabbi Yeshua Levi Mosifu Yayin. If she is nursing, then we give her wine. Because wine helps produce a lot of milk. And so we have concluded this glorious chapter, the 5th chapter of Maseches Kesubos. And I know David had a question, so let's just take David's question. Yes.